Okay, so today we're talking about percent of change. We are going to be using this formula that I wrote at the top. It says final amount minus the original amount divided by the original and then times 100. Another way to think about it really often is you're going to take your second number. I'm going to write this. It's okay. So second number, and please write this down, minus your first number divided by your first number times 100. So these numbers will always be the same. Take your second minus first, divide by first, times 100. And again, you do get to use a calculator, so make sure you have a calculator for this. It says to find the percent of change, so that's what we're doing. We're finding the change that's happening and putting it into a percent form. And then we're going to determine if it was increase or decrease. So if your answer is positive, it is increase. If your answer is negative, it's a decrease. We don't write negative percents, so that's why we use increase or decrease. So we will see examples like that. So number one, we start with our second number, which was 18, minus our first number, which was 15, divide by our first number, which is 15, and then times 100. So again, your second minus your first, divided by your first, times 100. This second number you wrote on the top should always be the same number you write on the bottom. So just always double check that. Second minus first, divided by first, times 100. So 18 minus 15 is 3. And then in your calculator, you'll do 3 divided by 15, and then hit times 100, and you're going to get 20%. Now, when you type that in, you do get a positive 20%, so we're going to say it's a 20% increase. Another quick way to check that is it went from 15 to 18, so it went up 3 yards. Since it went up, it increased. So if it went down, it would be decreased, but here it went from 15 to 18, it rose 3 yards, so that means increase. When you put it in the calculator, make sure you hit enter a few times. So 18 minus 5, or 18 minus 15 equals what? Divided by 15 equals what? Then times 100. Number 2, start with your second number, so 140 minus your first number, 100, divide by your first number, 100, then times 100. So you'll do 140 minus 100, which is 40, divided by 100, get whatever you get, and then times it by 100. You're going to get 40%. It's positive, and also it went from 100 to 140, so it increased. So 40% increase. Number 3, $12 to $6. So take your second number minus your first, divide by first, times 100. So 6 minus 12 divided by 12 times 100. 6 minus 12 is a negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 12 is 50%, then times 100. So it's a 50%. It was negative 50, and it went down in price, so it went from $12 to $6, so it's a 50% decrease. Again, we do not want to actually write negative 50% because negative percents don't really exist. So make sure your percent is always a positive, but if your answer actually was a negative, just put decrease by it. Number 4 says 48 notebooks to 14 notebooks. So second number, 14, minus your first number, 48, divide by your first number, 48, then times 100. So 14 minus 48 equals what? Divided by 48 equals what? And then times 100. When we do that, we're going to get a decimal, and that's okay. I'm just going to round it to 70.8%. Make sure you always put a percent because we're finding percent of change. And your answer was negative because it went from 48 down to 14, so it's a 40 or 70.8% decrease. Number 5, we have decimals, but still doing it the same way. Take your second number, 0.95, minus your first number, 1.6, divided by your first number, 1.6, times 100. 0.95 minus 1.6, then divided by 1.6, and times 100 is going to give us about 40.6%. And it should be a negative because it went down 1.6 down to 0.95, so we're going to put decrease. Number 6, take your second number, 125.4, minus your first number, 132, divided by your first number, 132, times 100. So 125.4 minus 132, then divide by 132, then times 100, you're going to get about 5%. That's a horrible 5. And again, it went down 132 down to 125.4. You should have gotten a negative answer on your calculator, so it's a 5% decrease again. A lot of decreasing. That's weird. Number 7, we have a story problem, but it's still doing the same thing. It says Jonas has been saving for a video game. Last year, the game was $28. This year, it's $36. Find the percent of change, that's what we've been doing, and the cost, and determine if it is an increase or decrease. Well, we can immediately say if it's an increase or decrease. It went from 28 to 36, so it went up in price. That's an increase. But let's go ahead and do the work. Our second number was 36, which with story problems, it's really important to know that that's also the final amount. So it's the most recent amount that the game cost. So 36 minus what the game originally was, 28, divided by 28 times 100. So 36 minus 28 divided by 28 times 100, we are going to get about 28.6%. And as we said, it's going to be an increase because it went up in price, and also because it was a positive answer. So you can think of it as your second minus first divided by first times 100. But with story problems, sometimes they try to trick you. So sometimes they might put this in the wrong order. So make sure you also know it as the final price minus the original price divided by original times 100. Number 8 is very similar. Last month, 349 books were checked out from the library, but this month, 273 were checked out. Find the percent of change and the number checked out. Determine if it was an increase or decrease. Okay, so we can still do your second minus first, divide by first, times 100, but it's important to know the reason we're doing that is because this month is more recent than last month. So this month is the final count of the books, 273, minus the original, 349, divided by 349, because these numbers are always the same, then times 100. Now, it told us to say if it's an increase or decrease. It went from 349 to 273. So we know that the book count went down, so we know it's going to be a decrease. We know we're going to get a negative answer. That's okay. So 273 minus 349, then divide by 349, then times 100, we're going to get about 21.8%. And you should have gotten a negative, and we already said that it's going to be a decrease. Okay, so that's all the notes for today. What I need you to do is, if you have questions about this or you aren't sure about one of the homework questions, please email me. Even though I'm not at school today, I can still receive emails. So if you have a question, shoot me an email and I will respond as quickly as I can.